Hey there, today I want to show marketers how easy it is to scrape a web page using Python. So this one might be a little bit different than some of the other videos I've done because you do need to have a little bit of web page knowledge before you can do this. So you need to know HTML and CSS and not actually how to write either of those, but just understand how they work on a web page, because the way that the scraper works is by targeting either HTML elements or IDs or classes. So if you need some help with that, you can always go to Mozilla, and they have at least information on HTML. Lots of resources out there for CSS as well. So we're going to be inspecting web pages because that's going to let us know which elements that we want to get. Second thing we'll need to do is this is going to require an external library, one that is called Beautiful Soup, and you can install it easily enough. You just copy this. You go to your command prompt. I'm on Windows, so you just do that, and this one will already be in here because I've already used it, but otherwise that'll install Beautiful Soup for you. And then there's also the Beautiful Soup documentation that is very helpful as well. So now let's get into this. So we're going to be scraping my website here. This is just the home page. It has a link to my most recent blog posts. And now when we come down to our script, we'll see I have a few things here. I'm importing the CSV. That's a standard library and just something I'm going to use later on. Also have import requests, and again, another standard library. And then here's where I have from BS4, Beautiful Soup, import Beautiful Soup. So the first thing that we're going to do is we have to get the web page that we want to scrape. So here, it's just my website, jasonrschlager.com, with HTTPS and everything included. And then we're going to create a variable called soup, and we're going to use Beautiful Soup up here. We're going to get the URL and then the content of the URL, and we're using the HTML parser. So, and now I'm just going to print soup. So when we run this, we'll see we get the HTML, which is great, but it's also maybe not that useful for what we want to do, at least right now. But we can also do for everything pretty much in Beautiful Soup. You can do .text, and that'll get you the text from the page with spacing though as well. So it might look a little bit weird here, but this is essentially all of the copy from the web page without the HTML. So just remember that we can do that for everything. So one thing that I really like about this is every time you use like a new variable, you only are searching within that, and I'll show you what I mean in just a second. So I'm just going to back out of here, and I'm going to go back to my website. So here's where we're going to inspect the page. And we'll try to, hopefully you can see this. So as I'm coming up here, if I'm going to do inspect here, I can see that, okay, this is a link. On top of that is an H2 tag, which is a standard HTML element. Up here we have a header class of header entry, so entry header, and then on top of that, so it looks like this whole thing is wrapped in an entry content wrap. But then, okay, so this is interesting. So right here, here's an article, which again is an HTML tag, and so it looks like this whole thing is an article. Looks like if I come here, going all the way up, again, it's an article. So what I really want to do is I want to get all of the articles, because I understand that all of these are all blocks that are in the article tag. So I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to create a variable called article. And now I'm going to do, now that I have my soup variable, I can do soup.find. And here, since it's an HTML tag, I can just type what that tag is. So it's article in this case, and I'm going to print article.text. And we'll see that, well, it got my very first one, which is good. But what I actually want to do is get all of the articles on the page. So you'll see here I did soup.find and then the tag. But there's also a different one if you want to get multiple. If there's a class you want to get and you want to get all of the the data from those classes on the page, you can do one that's called find_all. And now we're looking for article. And here I'm going to actually change this to plural so it makes sense. So articles, soup.find all, and then find basically anything on the page that has an article element. And I'm going to do for article in articles. So I'm using a loop here to go through anything that it finds in this articles, and I'm going to do print article.text. So what I'm doing, again, finding all the articles here. I'm going through each article of the articles, and I'm going to print that. So let me clear out the shell and print again. And we'll see now it went through and got all of them, which is really good. But really, we probably just want specific information from that. So I'm going to go back to my web page here for a second. I'm going to inspect this a little bit. Also going to change this to the bottom so that way it stays the normal orientation here. So let's get back up here. So I'll see that, okay, within article, there is an H2 tag, and I'm probably interested in that. I want to be able to scrape that information from the page. So I'm going to remember that, and let's just see what that looks like. So from here, now that we have article, again, we don't have to search through all of soup. We can just search through article. So I'm going to create a variable called heading, and I'm going to do article.find. In this case, I'm going to use just find because there probably only is one H2 element in there, and in any case, I just want the first one. So if I'm going to do that, let's print heading.text. And we'll see now it just got me all of the headings from here. So that's pretty cool. But also I see that under the heading here, there is a link. So let's see what that looks like as well. So I can do link equals heading.find, and links are always, if you know HTML, they're like A tags. So that's what that is, and I'm going to do link.text. And we'll see it return the same thing, because when you return the link text, it returns whatever the anchor text is. Now let's get rid of the text, and let's clear this out. And we'll see now it gives us the actual links, the full length of it, which is great, but we also probably only want really the href right here. So we can do that as well. So anytime you're working with a link, you can put href in square brackets, and now let's print that again. And that looks a lot better. All right, so now I want to combine these two, and I want to print the heading with the link. So I'm going to do heading.text and a link. So now I can get the name of the blog post and the link, and that's wonderful. But coming down here, I notice there's actually 10 pages of blog posts, and what I want to do is I just want to get all of the headings and all of the links. So I'm going up here to the URL. I can see, okay, there's a page and then 10, so I can understand that this goes in order. If I go down to page 8, it'll say page 8. So this is something that I can do really easily in Python, and I just want to make sure if I go to page 1 that it brings me just to the first page, which it does. So now I'm going to go through all of these very quickly. I'm going to create something up here, a variable called count. I'm using an integer of 1. So now I'm going to create a loop for this. I'm going to say for I in range 10, because I know I have to get through 10 pages. There's a couple ways that you can do this. I'm choosing to go this route. So basically this is going to say for the number 1 through 10, go through that. So that's what I'll do. I'll need to indent this now because this is a loop. And now this is already an F string here. And that means you can use variables within the string using curly brackets. So I'm going to say count up here. So for the first one, it's going to say page 1 essentially, and then we're going to say page 2. But I do need to increase the count. You can use plus equal, and that just increases whatever that variable is by 1, as long as you're using an integer. So I'm going to place that out here, though, outside of the articles, because otherwise it'll increase each time that it finds a heading or a link, or an article, I should say. So I'm going to run this, and let me clear this out. So now we'll see, if you're looking down here, it's going through absolutely everything. Let's go all the way to page 10. And there's my 9 must-have extensions for Chrome that I wrote in 2012, probably not applicable anymore. But it gave us everything that we wanted. So that is pretty helpful if you're trying to get information through a lot of pages on a website. I did mention, though, that we can also search by CSS as well. So I want to show you what that looks like. I'm just doing this. I'm creating a fake function just so that all of this information doesn't run. You don't have to do this. I'm just doing it for the purpose of the video. So it's going to ignore everything that's in this function. So now I'm going back to what I did before. I have the URL, which is a request get. I'm still looking at this web page. And again, I'm using the soup and beautiful soup URL content and parser. And now I'm creating a variable called categories, because if I look at my page here, I can see that all of them have a category. Let me go back to my first page where it's actually going to have different categories. So I have some on Workato, some on Marketo, Airtable. So I want to get what these are as well. So if I inspect this, I will see that it's a span. There's a link here in the span, and it's called category links is the class. Now, there's a couple of classes. There's term links, but it looks like category links is the one that I'm going to want. So I'm going to copy that, and we'll see here that I want to find actually in this case, I just want to find the first appearance of a category, of a class with category links. So here, if you remember when I was doing HTML, it was just whatever the HTML element was. When it's classes, we need to put class underscore, because class is a keyword in Python, so we can't use that. So it's class underscore, and then equals whatever that CSS name is, CSS selector is. So now if I come down here and print this, we'll see that all it did was grab that first one. And here, even though this is a link, this is one case where we might want to use text, because we just want to see what the name of the tag is. And here it's arbitrary. So, but if we remember what we can do before, we can do find all. And now I'm going to do for category in categories, print category.text. Let me clear this out. And here we got all of our tags from that page. So now, there's a lot of useful information already, but we can take one step farther, because I also want to, I'm going to get rid of this function. And I'm going to de-indent this information. And one more thing I'm going to do. So where we did this down here, finding the categories, I'm just going to move that up. Because we're searching within the article itself, I don't need to do find all. I can just do use the find. So I'm going to copy this. So, and I'm going to do article.find. So I'm not searching all of soup. I'm just searching article.find, and then class category links. So now let me get rid of this, and I'm going to category.text. So now I'm going to print so I'm going to print the heading, the text of the heading, the text of the category, and the link. Let me clear out the shell. So that looked pretty good. I did notice one thing. It looks like there's some white space around that, around the category. So I'm going to use strip, which gets rid of the white space. And let's just try this again. There we go. That's looking better. All right, but again, it's nice that we can print it, but we probably want it in a document. So I'm going to just come up here. I'm going to create a CSV. So I'm going to say with open, and I'll call it links.csv. And we're going to write it. So put W in parentheses, or quotes, and in new line equals empty quotes. And I'm not going to worry with the coding. I'm going to say as create CSV. Then I'm coming down here, CSV writer, call it whatever you want. CSV dict writer, and then you put in the name of the file that you just created. And field names are going to be heading, tag, and link. Then the next one, I'm going to do CSV writer dot write header, so that it's writing this row essentially. And then down here where we had the print, we're going to change this into a write row. So CSV writer dot write row. And here's where we're going. We need to change this to a dictionary. Heading equals heading.text. Tag equals category.text strip. And finally, link equals link. And now we need to close out the dictionary. All right, so this time it's not going to print anything out, and I need to correct my spelling. It's nice that it gives you the error. So here it said CSV uppercase writer is not defined, so I change it back to lowercase. So one thing I need to do is have the correct indentation. So before I actually had it like this. So the way the Python works with loops is it's saying with this open, and by the time I de-indented it, it basically closed the file. So gave me the warning. We should be better this time. So that took about 8 seconds to go through the whole site. Let's come up here. We'll open this links doc that I just created. And we'll see that everything's in here. Although this is kind of messy, so let's actually open up a new. So let's open up a new, we'll put this in Google Sheets. It will be easier to read. I'm going to import. I'm going to find my links CSV file here. I'm going to append it. And we'll see I have my headings, all of my blog posts, my tags, and the link. And let's just check. There we go. Perfect. So a lot of possibilities with this. Again, as long as you know HTML and CSS, at least you know how they work in creating a web page, I think you'll find this really useful. So I'm planning to do more videos on this because this is a pretty big topic, and I know one of the things that I use it a lot for, I think a lot of marketers will, is for scraping cable data too. So I'm going to do that in a future video. But hopefully this gets you started. And if you have a use case that you want to see me cover, always let me know. Thanks.